What's up guys, Fruitcake Tech here, back at it again with another PC build for September. Before I start anything, I want to mention that I am sick, so sorry if my voice sounds a little funny. Now anyways, this is going to be a $1,000 gaming PC that can max out anything at 1080p and can even do 1440p, lowering the settings a tad. This will be way more than the average gamer needs. Now without further ado, let's get started. This PC includes an AMD Ryzen 1600X CPU, which has now taken over the Intel i5 7600K CPU that held the previous spot in this build because of its more cores, and also that it can do more than just game. It can also do some light video editing and software development, things like that. In Adobe Premiere, this processor beats out the 7600K every time, and sure, you'll lose a couple frames in games, but really you get the option of doing both just as good, or only being able to game, and I prefer option. Now to overclock the CPU, I included the Cooler Master Hyper T4. Now yes, this time I did make sure it was compatible with the AM4 bracket right out of the box. If you have a little bit more money, go for the 212 Evo, but that one does not come with the AM4 bracket out of the box, so keep that in mind. You'll have to order the bracket separate in the Cooler Master website. Graphics card I went with is the Asus GeForce GTX 1060 6GB video card. Asus makes some great cards, and this one is no different. With its white fans, this will be able to match the all-white aesthetic quite nicely. And as I mentioned before, this graphics card is capable of even 1440p gaming, so you have that to look forward to. For the motherboard, we have included the Gigabyte GA-AB350 Gaming 3, yes, amazing name, motherboard, supporting the Ryzen CPUs, along with overclocking the 1600X in this build. Some specs are, it has two USB 3.1 Gen 2 USB Type A ports, two-way crossfire, even though we won't be needing that. Regardless, it's nice to have. Metal shielding over the PCIe slots, a PCIe M.2 slot, best of all, RGB lighting. Okay, I know not all of you love RGB, but it's nice to have anyways. The RAM is the affordable Crucial Ballistics Sport 2x4 8GB kit. Now this is a $1,000 build. I probably could have squeezed in 16, but it's just RAM is super expensive right now. So if you can hold on to it with just 8, I would recommend it. I said it before, but 8GB is just fine for right now, and even for video editing. It's what I use, and I know my videos aren't the best, but you get the gist of it. For storage, I had a little bit more room to play with this time, so I decided to get an SSD and a hard drive solution. So for the SSD, I chose the SanDisk SSD Plus 120GB drive. This is to put main things on like your programs, Adobe Premiere, Photoshop, Google Chrome, etc. and your operating system. I can't stress enough how important SSD is, especially in these higher price ranges. If you're thinking about skipping the SSD to get a better CPU or graphics card, trust me, it won't be worth it. And SSD is one of the most essential parts of a new system, and for those of you that have one, you know what I mean. Now, the SSD is only 120GB, so I decided to include a 2TB Seagate Barracuda drive. These drives are great and come really cheap for what they offer. I got 2TB because I know personally a 1TB drive fills up really quickly, and it was only $15 more than a 1TB, so why not, am I right? Now for the power supply of this build, I chose the EVGA Supernova G2 750W 80+ gold certified fully modular power supply. If you've heard of EVGA, then you know their power supplies are one of the best out there for the money, and this is no exception. I got the 750W because the price was no different than the 650W for some odd reason. Anyways, this is more than enough for what the system needs, and it will more than cover any future expansions or upgrades. Plus, it's fully modular, so that should make the aesthetic of the PC just that much better. Plus, cable management will be way easier. Speaking of cable management, for the case, I chose the Fractal Design Focus G white ATX mid-tower case. I'm a bit of a sucker for all things white. I'm talking about PCs here. Anyways, it comes with 2 included white LED fans, ample airflow, plus enough hard drive caddies and SSD mounting spots that your heart could desire. It also has a 5¼ inch drive bay if people still use that, a big motherboard cutout, and it just looks awesome in my opinion. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the video. Sorry that I haven't been posting that much. I've been sick this week, plus with all the hurricane stuff, it's been quite difficult to get one out. If you were affected by the hurricane, I'm so sorry, and I can only pray like something like this never happens to anyone else. Alright, that's all I have to say. If you enjoyed my content, please consider subscribing, like the video if you enjoyed it, and as always, stay fruity.